Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start our social studies class with chapter number 14, the changing face of the earth. Dear students, in last class we already discussed about the many type of forces which were changing the face of the earth, like endogenic forces, exogenic forces, and types of endogenic and exogenic forces also discussed by us, sudden and many types of words also we discussed in last class, like endogenic forces divided into two parts, sudden forces and disastrophic forces. After that, in sudden forces we already discussed about volcanic eruption, and two more events here like earthquake, landslides. After that, in second one, disastrophic forces is also here, like mountain building. And in exogenic forces, erosional and depositional work like river, wind, glacier and sea waves also is being there. But now we are going to discuss about the second part, earthquakes. In last class we discussed about the volcanoes, types of the volcanoes, which type of volcanoes are there and which place which volcano is being situated. All that thing we already discussed in last class. Now we will begin our chapter, begin our class with earthquakes. Dear students, as you know that earthquakes means sudden movement in earth's surface. Many times you also face that type of things and that type of movement, and we can say that that type of movements are sudden only. We also don't know whenever that type of movement will be happen in future, or whenever that was happen in past also, we don't know about that thing. Dear students, let's begin. The sudden wild or violent shaking of a part of the earth is called an earthquake. Any means sudden, mild or violent shaking part of the earth called an earthquake. It is then generally accompanied by a rumbling sound and tremors. One of the major causes of earthquake is the movement of the tectonic plates. If we talk about earthquakes, then major thing whatever responsible for earthquake, we can say that that is tectonic plates. Because movement in tectonic plates we was face earthquakes because of tectonic plates movement. One of the major cause of earthquake is the movement of the tectonic plates. Sometimes the eruption of a volcano also shakes the ground in the nearby areas and cause an earthquake. Because of the volcanic eruption, sometimes we are feeling earthquakes. The place of origin of an earthquake is called focus. If we talk about the place from where earthquake is going to start, that is known as focus. Like it is our earth surface, and if earthquake is start from this point only, that is known as focus. Upside of it, just above on earth, that is known as epicenter. It's about earthquake. From where earthquake is start, that point is known as focus, and upside of that on the surface of the earth, that is known as epicenter. The place of origin in earthquake is called focus. The point on the earth surface which is vertically above the focus, that is epicenter. And the vibration of an earthquake is spread out as the concentrative waves from the focus. The intensity of an earthquake is maximum near the epicenter. If we talk about the maximum to maximum intensity of the earthquake, that's nearby the epicenter part only. That part only covered the maximum earthquake. Maximum feelings of the earthquake is at the epicenter only. The vibrations of an earthquake spread out as concentric waves from the focus. The intensity of an earthquake is maximum near the epicenter. And four diagrams is also given here. Dear students, watch this diagram clearly. Prior to seismic disturbance, a straight face line provides a good reference. Means that type of reference also we can face in the earthquake. If we talk about S wave, like this type of S-like waves also we can many times face. That type of earthquakes waves also we can mention, that is known as S wave. After that, many times that type of P like the structure also we can face motion produced by P wave. Particles are compressed and expanded in the line of the wave propagation. Like that type of movement is also happen. Sometimes this one, like this one, this type of P waves also we can mentioned in that type of moment. After that, surface wave. Surface wave means that type of surface waves is also we can face. That is known as the surface wave. Continuously that type of waves is running in the earth phase. So it's about earthquakes. Now we'll discuss about studying earthquakes. Means how can we study about earthquakes or something. The science that deals with earthquake is called the seismology. It is a main what we can say that about that thing. Seismology is a branch of the science in which we study about earthquakes and earthquakes types and whatever that type of study, whatever related to earthquakes, all that thing we will discuss in seismology only. And the earthquake scientists are called seismologists. Means whoever work on the project of the earthquake, that type of scientist is also known as seismologist. The intensity of earthquake waves is measured on the Richter scale. Earthquakes waves measured on Richter scale, and the earthquake tremors are recorded by an instrument called seismograph. The Richter scale ranges from 0 to 9. If we talk about Richter scale, then we can face that ranges is from 0 to 9. An increase in 1 point on the Richter scale, if that increase in 0 to 9, we know that if it is about 2, then we have to multiply 2. Because of that, that's about the 10 times. Already mentioned, Richter scale indicates the force of the earthquake is 10 times greater than the strength of the previous number. The earthquake of intensity 6 and the above are destructive. Charles Francis Richter, 1985, was an American seismologist. In 1935, he invented the Richter scale of measure the intensity of earthquake. Dear students, one incident is also given here. Bhuj earthquakes of 26 January 2001. A case study is also given. We will study this one also. We cannot forget the earthquake of 26 January 2001, which shook the state of Gujarat and left the thousands of people dead and property was several crore. Nearby 1000 crore loss on that time has been created by that type of earthquake, and thousands of people died on that time and lakhs of people was founded. On 26 January 2001, when the nation was celebrating the Republic Day, sad news came that a severe earthquake had struck the state of Gujarat. Giving the reason of this earthquake, the experts opened that said earthquake was due to the nation plate pushing into the erosion plate. This epicenter was near Bhuj in Gujarat. Means that earthquake waves start from the Bhuj only, and that is the main part of starting that type of earthquake. Here as well as elsewhere, the bridges fell down, rocks were damaged, they were causing much disruption in relief work. It is estimated that more than 50,000 people killed. How much? 50,000 people killed. At least 5 lakh were injured. And almost 7.8 lakh houses were destroyed and a total number of 3.4 lakh buildings were damaged. Experts feel that if some precautionary measures are taken, the damage done by earthquakes can be minimized to a great extent. They suggest the following measures. If you are suffering from that type of situation, if you are feeling any earthquakes, if you want to save from earthquake your house or your life, then you have to follow some measures whichever gives by seismologists. Like as already said, construction of building must be avoided on soft soil. Never be construct your house on soft soil. Second thing, foundation should be strengthened with the cement and concrete. Means you have to create a ratio of the cement and concrete. After that you have to use that type of things. Again, buildings should be supported by strong iron pillars. Means you have to use RCC road concrete, cement you have to use. After that you have to make that type of beam so that they could be withstand the earthquakes of more successfully. Means if you are living in RCC home, then that will be safe for yours one. It would be better if such buildings are constructed under the supervision of trained building engineer, because mostly generally that type of works is done by the illiterate person and they don't know about that type of things, how much ratio they have to take with the cement and concrete, which type of iron bars they have to use. They don't know about that thing, so that type of incident occur. Existing buildings may be stand structurally. If possible, in the earthquake prone areas, the house should be made of wood. If that type of area is we can say that like Japan is facing every day that type of earthquake, so they made that their houses with wood only, so they didn't have any type of loss. It would be better if the walls of such buildings do not touch the ground as was done by the ancient Japanese in the building their temples. This was already mentioned about Japan because Japan facing many types of earthquakes in a day. Like in day they will feel 2, 3, 4 types of earthquakes. More than 10 lakh earthquakes are recorded every year in Japan. 10 lakh. An earthquake's intensity is measured in relation to its effect on human life. The slow and mild tremors are more frequent and are generally not noticed. Violent earthquakes cause serious damage to life and property. They may be cause landslides in hilly areas, earthquakes in crust, bursting of river dams and blocking of rivers, raising or lowering of the sea floors and coastal areas. Because of earthquakes, it may be damageful, it may be very dangerous for us. A severe sea, seabed earthquake causes tsunami. Now we will talk about distribution of earthquakes, whichever place is suffered from that type of natural calamity. Like earthquakes can occur in any part of the world, however they occur frequently in certain part of the earth called earthquake belts. Means whichever part is facing that type of problems, that belt is known as earthquake belt. The main earthquake belt are on the earth are as under. First one is circum-Pacific belt. The circum-Pacific belt includes the coastal margins of North America, South America and East Asia. These regions account for about 65% of the total earthquakes of the world. This belt consists with the Pacific Ring of the Fire. Means we already said about that. That type of ring is also made on the world map if we are watching. Mid-continental belt. The Alpine Mountains, Mediterranean Sea, Northern and Eastern Africa and the Himalayas fall on the mid-continental belt. About 25% of the seismic events are recorded here. After that, Mid-Atlantic Ridge Belt. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge Belts include the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and the adjoining islands. It records moderate earthquakes which are caused due to the moving of the lithosphere plates in the opposite direction. Whenever lithosphere plates are going to be moved in opposite direction, then that type of place is facing earthquakes. The earthquake belt in India is mainly confined to the Himalayan region and the Ganga Brahmaputra Valley. Though both that places are the earthquake prone areas, about two-thirds of the India is earthquake prone. In the last 50 years, earthquake tremors have been experienced even in the Deccan Plateau, which was considered relatively safe and free from the earthquakes. The Bureau of Indian Standards has divided India into 5 earthquake zones. Means India is divided into 5 earthquake zones that are already mentioned on your diagram also. Whatever map is given here zone number 1, zone number 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, and according to color that distribution is also here. Dear students, it's about earthquake. Now we are going to revise all that thing whatever we study. Dear students, now we are going to revise this chapter because in this chapter we already studied about volcanoes, earthquakes, types of volcanoes. Volcanoes means whenever sudden movement from the earth's crust and then the cups of crater is throwing outside of that like the molten rocks and acids and gases and many other type of the structures. That type of natural calamity is known as the volcanic eruption, and it may be very harmful. It may be dangerous to us also, for our environment also, and for our earth also. Second one is here, that's about earthquakes, and in this already we discussed about like the sudden movements in the earth's tectonic plates, that type of things that be cause of the earthquakes. And in this one we already discussed like the starting point of the earthquake is known as focus, and out vertically upon of the earth surface, that is point is known as the epicenter. And already we discussed about the incident of the Kutch Bhuj in Gujarat on 26 January 2001. We faced that great damage on that day. Whole world, whole India is celebrating 26 January means the Republic Day. On that time, sudden sad news is came like the Gujarat faced that type of heavy earthquakes, and because of that, lakhs of people lost their house and thousands of people lost their lives, and many type of buildings is going to be dumped, and that type of thing we already discussed. Types of earthquakes also, earthquake waves also discussed by as primary waves means that type of simply waves whenever taking place, that type of waves is known as primary waves. After the secondary waves means whenever that type of waves is going to be secondary means very far that type of waves can be measured. After that, surface waves means whenever waves can be felt by us on surface, then that type of waves is known as the surface waves. After that, we discussed about distribution of earthquakes. Circum-Pacific belt means whichever Pacific belt like Pacific rings of the fire, that type of places felt Also earthquakes, mid-continental belt and mid-Atlantic grease belt, that's also facing the earthquakes. And in our India we can say that 50% of that type of area like Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and that type of places faced earthquakes, and northern Himalaya and northern Ganga and Brahmaputra region also facing that type of movements and that type of calamities in the daily life. So dear students, we have to face that type of problems in our daily life. So at first we have to know about that thing, what can we do before it's for saving that type of activity. So we have to make our house with RCC like concrete and cement and iron rods. We have to use that imported iron rods in the direction of the we can say that confident engineer also used to that type of the making building structure, something like that. Wherever there is any type of the earthquake or something happen, then we have to save our life from that thing. So we have to take guidance from the literate engineer or something like that. We don't have to directly make the any type of structure whichever harmful for our life, also harmful for our environment also. Dear students, it's about the changing face of the earth, and in this one we discussed about volcanoes and earthquakes. I hope you understand this chapter. If you have any type of doubt, you can ask me through Google Meet class. Thank you, dear students.